Outplay. Onic answering back. There goes the Kadira, the Valentina, and of course Onic just covering their bases. Ain't no 1-1 today. No, basically, not for you.
It's going to be difficult to actually predict some of these drafts. You know, I was coming in very, very confident on day number 1, but considering that a lot of teams have many different styles of play, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the many different angles that they can actually take. Considering that Outplayed here are looking to ban out both Valentina as well as the Kadita. They're making sure that one of the flex picks for mid and as well as Rome are taken out. And more importantly, we've seen how devastating Valentina overall as a mid laner is. Like, oh yes, wow, you want to be Eve? That's totally fine. I'll steal your ult and I will outscale you.
Talking about Eve, it's still out there. Onic answers back, taking out the Fredrin. I think they know that it's a flex pick. Despite Best Player 1 being known for his assassin picks, Ureshi can might as well flex. And again, if you put a hero that's about as deadpan as a Fredrin, that gives Ureshi all the more the flexibility to watch the map, make the calls, and take control.
When he makes the calls, you need to put him in a very good matchup. You know, optimally you want to put him in a winning matchup. So something like the Arlet could definitely come through first for Outplay, just to give him that stability in lane. But for Outplay, they're just taking a few of these heroes that are looking like Sans' heroes, all three of them.
Yep, no Gila Sans, no.
Finally, we get to see the glue ban. I was getting a little scared there whether Onic was going to just kind of let it open and say, yes, if you want to go get glue for yourself or farm, it really doesn't matter to us. But finally, glue gets banned out and first pick going over to OP. What are they going to lean towards? What are they going to prioritize? Especially when I'm looking at Coach Dale, right? Previously, he was under Homeboys in Malaysia, and he's done a lot of wonders for a team that never makes it far in the playoffs, achieving only 3rd place.
See how far he's come? Prior to that, he was in Myanmar.
Right?
So again, you have to consider the depth and the breadth of this man's knowledge. Like, how you think he's thinking? Is it Hoon? He's going to give the heave here?
I think that definitely could be the answer for this composition, and Eve gets first picked here for OP. We've seen many times before. Right now, it's actually in a 100% ban/pick rate, so it is the most popular pick for MSC 2023, and especially considering, you know, Dale has the experience of coaching for a lot of different regions, for
all of the regions.
All of the regions, technically now. He definitely understands that stability is very important to create that, you know, spectacular draft that you need. This is one of the this is one of the foundations for the draft that he wants to create, and Yves is just perfect against the Faramis and everything that's open for Onic.
Exactly. I mean, Faramis is basically out of the pool at this stage of the game. Onic, they're going to go for the Lancelot as well as the Claude. The Swiss Army knife of the marksman lane, and more importantly, one of the best junglers that we've seen so far, getting his hands on the top meta pick in the jungle role, Lancelot.
So far, so good between OP and Onic in the first phase. Nothing out of the ordinary. We might not have to see Coach Dale, Coach Adi, and Coach Yeb flex as hard. But then again, as I say those 2 names, those 3 names in total, is Dale not outnumbered? Yeah, sure, he's playing for Outplayed, but that's 2 brains on the other side.
It's Adi and Yeb.
2 geniuses.
2 of the brightest minds in MPL Indonesia, most definitely. And I think they're working together really well because Yeb handles the draft for the most part. Adi handles the in-game stuff. And that mix has really made Onic level up. But as we mentioned, Arlet for Ureshi. Just a solid pickup here. They go for the Kufra. What do you think about that?
I personally like it because, again, you're seeing 2 dashing heroes. Obviously, you know, Mincetar would be the absolute counter. I will let you go out of here. But at least with Kufra, you have that flexibility and more, I would say, a safer way to look for these initiations.
Yep, it's the better way to set up a box. It doesn't make you go all in. If you go Mincetar Eve, it's so honest. You're so sure. Now, the young man on screen right now, the young Kyrie Rayos del Sol said, only if Outplay can get lucky in MSC. I'm disappointed that BTK didn't make it, but it's not luck. They're the 2nd strongest in NA, but I just think, and I feel sad for Mobile Zane. Oh wow, he's built a bond with his colleague in the NA. He wants to work with him again, and of course, he wants to see them there, but no matter what happens, he just wants to win.
Just like a true competitor, quoted like an absolute champion here. Now let's come back into the draft. I'm seeing the Bane getting banned out, right? See, this is the meta shift that we're talking about. Something that we might expect to get picked up by or outplayed at some certain point. But that's not all, right? We do see the Farsa also get banned out. Fanny as well. That's what I was going to point out later on. But Coach Yab, he is on it today.
At this point, they might just go for the Lilia ban, man. That's the other hero. That's the only other hero that I think Sans has played in the mid lane as a mage. Sure, we've seen him on Lunox, we've seen him on other heroes, but in this meta, I think the Lilia should just be the next ban for Outplay if that's the deal.
Yep.
They want to shut Sans down so hard. And yeah, called it 5 bans to Gila Sans.
Mr. Worldwide, not showing any quarter to the MPL ID Season 11 Grand Finals MVP.
The smiles though.
What's left? Yeah, Kyrie knows. Yo. Dale is serious.
More like Kyrie's like, finally, it's not me this time. Oh boy, I do hope to see something a little unorthodox from Onic, right? You know, a lot of questions have been asked about whether Gusion might actually come back into the meta, whether or not that's going to be good, but they're forced into farmers, they're doubling down on this.
0% win rate, man. I think the stats speak for itself, especially up against an Arlet, Kufra, and Yves. Not too sure about this Faramis pick.
I agree.
Has it come to the point where Faramis has been nerfed to the ground?
I wouldn't say that he's been nerfed to the ground, but there's just too many things that interact with his abilities that make him pretty obsolete. I think in this case, at least it's somewhat of an insurance policy. Maybe a 1.5 seconds buffer before the rest of the composition comes into that backline.
And now a statement from Hoon on how he feels about representing NA for MSC. He's not that proud to be here because, again, they're second place, but he'd like to tell his opponents that only one team gets to have revenge, and that's us. Oh, that confirms it. They're out for blood.
99.9%. I asked them, me and LaFell actually asked them, what are the chances of you guys winning MSC? Dale responded 99.9%, so the confidence is still there. The Martis and the Beatrix, a solid front-to-back composition. They want to be placed in that box, and they want to live comfortably in that box.
Such a traditional Siege composition, but if we're looking at Onic, they want to go straight into that backline. They want to dive as hard as they possibly can. If they can punish Kun in the earlier stages of the game, I think it's very possible. But that's the relationship between the EXP and as well as the jungle, both of which I think Outplayed have their eyes on. I mean, look at these matchups, right? Arlet should be able to hold on for a good amount of time, pre-level 4, against the Yuzong for a good amount of time. Maybe he won't be able to rotate as fast at level 4, but at the end of the day, if you push him back into the box, it's rough. And Onic, one step ahead, locking in. You want to find in the box? No problem. We have an insurance policy, and we have a Minotaur.
So much AoE for both compositions. I mean, the Faramis and the Minotaur with the Claude and the Lance. Oh my lord, so many AoE. So it's just going to be both teams looking to skirmish.
And again, the key here is going to be the re-engage. Let's see what the world thinks. A majority, of course, going over to Onic, and yeah, no, it's all Onic, so OP definitely the underdog.
Wait, hold up. Singapore, a large majority of Singapore is leaning towards Outplayed here. That's interesting to note.
I mean, Singapore also rooted against RSG SG's opponents 2 times, you know, Phoenix and Evo. So I don't know what's going on in Singapore.
It's about maximizing your MSC guest coins. That's the main idea. You got to start looking for these competitors that can double, triple your profits as we're starting to jump into the game.
Here we go, game 1 in a best of 3. This is for that slot in the knockout stage. It's Outplay going up against Onic.
Outplay are in dangerous territories here. Onic have already gotten 1 win. If they lose here, especially 2-0, they're gonna have to go up against Burn X Flash. Home ground advantage to secure the knockout stages.
Now, let's keep in mind here, looking at how the starting lineup is going to be, and especially for both compositions, we're not seeing anything funky happening. It's very standard, very default for both sides.
Yep, no double XP start, so it's a man-to-man roam, but look at how deep Sans is. What's he thinking here?
He just wants to get vision. This is how Sans usually plays with the recalls as well. He's got to be careful here, though. Opposite the channel Stampede, good read. Kyrie able to secure the lethal Wanderer. Something I want to bring up, though, is Reshi's choice of talent here. He actually went for the Unbending Will instead of the tenacity that we usually see on Arlet.
I'd say 9 out of 10 Arlets these days play the Unbending. Well, 1 out of 10 play the Unbending Will. The other 9 would play the tenacity.
Personally, for me, I love it. I love the Unbending Will because the main idea is if CW decides I'm going to jump into the middle of this fight, somebody needs to finish him off, and obviously it's clear that CW, he should be okay, right? Yeah, totally fine. He's able to battle mirror image in time, but at the end of the day, right, it's going to be whether or not this Arlet can take out CW during the mid game. Towards the later stages, it's going to be a little bit harder.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at it again, both teams are just playing it super slow. They both want to contest for the first neutral objective, having a Martis and a Lancelot. So they are going to be transitioning over to that XP lane just in a bit, and you'll see already, Faramis, Sans, first on the board towards that XP lane.
I think a lot is riding on Kyrie's shoulders because you can't expect Keyboy to just walk in freely and get him in no inferior in the middle of the box to change the fight, right? Kyrie is going to have to bait out a couple of spells, and this is what we're seeing here. Keyboy is going to hit level 4 before joining.
Okay, charging in, early Shark, Tyrant's Revenge, going to be able to connect onto Boots, but he doesn't have the Tyrant's Rage just yet. Kyrie with defensive execution, cancelled away. Boots looking to re-engage already onto base player 1, who will use the Mortal Coil to disengage. Oreshi in the midst of it all right now, caught in, has the final slash to get the reset on the Vengeance. Onic holding on to that turtle. Sans trying to zone best player away as he pops in a Mortal Coil. No more Mortal Coil to play for. Keyboy going to be knocked up. He does have the Venus Fury right now, and he will be able to use it right now with the Ultra to help him out. Kyrie wins Retribution battle as best player 1 is forced to back away. The RWM locks him in place, but Kyrie and Sans jump to the back. It's Oreshi who finds the trade back, but it's only the Roamer here traded in, and he is caught in a tough spot. Able to use the Vengeance once again. Sans knocked up, has the Shadow Stampede, but Tyrant's Rage locks him down. Sans might just be taken down here, but Kyrie finds him the trade. Sans falls in the back. Shark now going to be targeted down by Boots, who's looking for the kill. A few more hits should do it, and he does not have Flicker. Onic win out. It's a 3 for 2, and they get the turtle.
What a long extended fight there. While all this was happening, CW did get chunked out pretty hard, forced to recall early on. Basic is holding on very nicely to his lead for now. But the real question is, how are they going to play for these upcoming neutral objectives? We saw what it looks like, and unfortunately, for Outplayed, it's a little tough to get in on these fights, especially when Keyboy has his ultimate.
You see that OP understands that their strength, or at least in a 50-50 matchup like this, lies in the re-engage. They really tried hard after baiting out a few ults from Onic. They had that step in, but from there on, Onic understood that, yeah, no, you can get a better re-engage, but when we're able to split you up and go for the 2-for-1s when you're not ready for it, they're going to win out, and that's what got them this 1K gold lead in under 4 minutes.
Can we also talk about the fact that every time we've seen a Minotaur so far, it's not like everybody immediately starts switching over to Purifies, right? Nobody on the side of OP decided to go Purifies. They wanted to have their flickers available to make the play, that re-engage like you talked about. They don't want to sit there and anchor down.
They technically have 3 people with anti-CC. Vengeance, Mortal Coil, and the RWM. So maybe that's the reason as to why they're not going for that. For Basic, I think on the Beatrix, it's just natural to go for the Flicker, right? You don't really want to go on that Purify. It gets you out of the lane so easily, and yeah, the Purify is just not a good mix, I think, with the Beatrix.
If anything, it's Onic who's respecting that fact, right? The RWM is on almost for sure catch. But look at this, Shark. Stretch it up!
Okay, good shot, but Sans brings them back with the Shadow Stampede. Kyrie now just dealing some damage, poking him down. Best player already 1 level down. Kyrie has a level of advantage. He can actually get 2 levels.
And that costs Shark nothing. That costs Outplay nothing. So they know that for the next minute or so, Sans can't Purify.
Yep, they know that for a fact. More importantly, the ultimates are all available for both sides. But wait, hold on.
Okay, best player 1 has just used the Retribution. Kyrie able to dash away from the Tyrant's Revenge, and that should just be a free turtle over to Onic. He baited out that Retribution super quick. Shark still is trying to give the team vision, trying to give space for the rest of the team to work with it as in the bottom lane. Oreshi is getting out-leveled as well. It might be a solo kill. Boots jumps in. The passive is fully on. Kyrie doesn't decide to rotate down below, but Oreshi is forced to use Flicker defensively.
Are they going to convert on this? Are they going to... No, Kyrie's not going to break from his path. He needs to make sure he ends up on that top side of the map rather than helping out with the bottom side, because it generally, you're not really going to interact with Arlet anyways, and half the time it's going to be Basic who's going to get targeted down in these major fights. On the other hand, right, best player has not been able to find the space and time to really get in on this, right? Early game Martis, you're expecting to get early decimates to finish off kills, but the way that Onic is moving across the map, making sure that there's no holes in their defense.
I'm loving the pressure that Onic is placing down on the OP. It's slowly but surely. They're not ballooning out of control. It's a slow 1K, 2K gold lead over the past 6 minutes. And because of that, they're winning the lanes. Onic, bottom and top, even mid. Look, it's a 2v1, and then here up top, it's a 3v3.
And they're sandwiching OP.
Look at the positioning. Yeah, no. And yeah, they leave Oreshi down bottom, but I'm not so sure what he can get there.
Keyboy Minute Fury, no Purify, and that's what it does. Everybody locked down. Who's going to be falling right there as he pops in the real world manipulation to sustain. Best player 1 rotating up top, but he's a bit too late to the party as he's going to be chunked down. Shadow Stampede not just connecting just yet. Tyrant's Revenge blocking Kyrie down the bouncing ball as well, stopping him from using the puncture, but he still is able to play it slow to get out of that situation as Onic just pick up a free turret.
Really good timings on the Thorn Rose, dodging a couple of hits and especially dodging the turret shots to put him into lethal range. 30 more seconds till Turtle comes back up, and if you look at the ults, Sand should technically get his full altar relatively soon. In the meantime here, Boots with that 1-kill lead, and especially with the Black Dragon form and the fact that he is able to disrupt so many members from the side of OP, all of their flickers are basically down.
Well synchronized, Shark get a catch.
Bouncing ball as well. Kyrie locked down, but he just stays there. Thorn Rose puncture out. Calm, cold.
All right, admit it. Who is sweating here? You have to admit, you gotta be a very confident jungler to sit in front of the nearest Ashen, open up the sidebar just to see the items.
Here we go again.
Kibo and Sons brought together. CW is already down below right now. Chunking Shark pretty low, half HP. Doesn't have the regen, it seems, right now. CW is going to be able to regen back up. Seems like Kyrie is able to clear out the purple buff already. Getting that level lead once again. Security the turtle. There's no contest from Outplay. They tried their best to go for the mid lane. There might actually be a contest right now. Ooh, Retribution gonna be able to secure that. Minus Fury and the knock up onto Reshi as Boots isolates the members. The Petrify connects onto Hood, and that's Boots diving all the way under the turret, waiting out the real world manipulation, but the call ultimate comes down to save Boots. He's still very low. Final slash from the back. Keyboy gonna be able to knock 2 members up as CW pokes them down. Not enough damage just for now. Reshi is gonna be executed by a friend of execution. Kyrie on the back. He keeps on going. He might get shut down though. Kai boiling down as a shutdown, but it's also a wipe out for Onic as early as the 8th minute of the game.
You see how the 2K, 3K gold lead came into play. They were able to juggle underneath, and yeah, Shark keeps getting these catches, but to no avail, there's no follow-up.
Wait, okay.
He's good. He's good. Shark is able to walk away from that, but you got to admit, Kyrie sees angles that most people don't, and the fact is, they knew, and especially when you're looking at Hoon here, he played it as great as he can, right? He was managing the shot residue. He quickly dropped down the real world manipulation to keep himself alive, but look at the angle that Kyrie finds the hop, the best player, right on top of Hoon to secure this kill, buys enough time for the rest of the team to start wiping them out.
I mean, it was a wipeout for the cost of maybe a couple on the way out, but they converted out their minds, went all the way as deep as tier 2 in mid. So that's a main artery that Outplay cannot farm from anymore. And it's not like basically he's having a great time. You see how CW was just free farming, free hitting in mid?
He is just getting so much gold here. Let's look at actually 2,000, almost
2,000 ahead.
God, this is not going to be an easy game at all. And the worst part for Outplayed is the fact that their tier 1 structures are already gone and the mid tier 2 is gone. The entire jungle is basically Kyrie's at this point.
Best weak side goal laner in Indonesia, CW, right? We named him that, and right now he's showing it. A lot of them rotations early on was mostly just 2 words, Boots, getting him ahead in that winning matchup already. And CW is able to farm up so well. And the fact is, you know, I think I saw Shark more often in the gold lane. So the fact that he's able to just sustain, this is why the Claude gets picked up. The Swiss Army knife with a Purify as well, unkillable.
Shark's not only in the gold lane, Shark is in bushes wherein he's looking for kills that Outplay has no business going for. He started doing this at about minute 1, minute 2, and it's not converting. So I'm guessing it was a tempo misunderstanding between the rest of the team. So yeah, no, now Outplay is catching up. There's no way they're going to contest this. Sure, there is a push up top that basically bought for them, but no. The one scores the first Lord for Onic here, slowly ballooning up to 7K ahead in 10 minutes. And a free turret too, there's nothing OP's getting.
Yep, they're not getting anything, but that's totally fine here because remember, OP have high ground defense, and I think that's going to be really important. We've seen in the last match what high ground defense does for you. It buys you that extra bit of time, and if you have to drag this out to 20 minutes, OP are going to have to make the attempt to do so.
All right, what are you supposed to do right now, right? I mean, for Outplay, I think there's only one response to this play. It's to just turtle up in the base.
That's right.
But Onic have a pretty good siege comp.
Don't push it, don't push it. Starting up with the RWM, pop that holy shield.
They're not going to get enough off of this, and I think even Onic recognizes that, man, this Lord's too weak. We'll wait for the next one. And I think even for Outplayed, where do you go from here? Who can you really punish? Because Keyboy, he can hold on, actually hold OP hostage with the Minoan Fury. You never know when he's going to come in with it.
Okay, penetrated Shark already just fully committing onto Keyboy, but the call ultra saves him, and the Minoan Fury with a flicker in front. He finds 3 members under the base turret though, no minions coming down. That was a mistake. Keyboy loses his life. Onic now still disengaging. They've gotten enough damage onto the base turret to say, I'm happy with the trade, but they cannot go for more.
Signs of life from Outplay, and again, it rings true. That one thing that they should do at this point, approaching 12 minutes into the game, down almost 8K, is to stay in their base, defend up, build up on Hoon, who I think is maybe short one more. He needs one more main item for these high ground defenses to not just stay inside their base.
Absolutely. Look at the items. Look how far Sands is ahead of Hoon right now. Very, very far. Very, very far in terms of the items. 3 items to 2, and even better yet, he is stacking up very fast. So the more they clump up together, the more they want to try and go for this high ground defense. If they fall into the cone of the Ghost Bursters, at least for Sands, he knows he's going to get value. Just set it up for CW.
Purple buff CW, did you see that? Right, they're already trying to funnel onto CW. So it's already a very different Onic to the last time we saw them. Remember, at M4, it was Kyrie-centric. Now, it feels very balanced.
And isn't that the same way that EVOS Legends have evolved too?
Yeah.
They've been able to say, you know, it's not just about brands. Now it's just not about Kyrie. We will let y'all do your thing. And yeah, Sans was the MVP then, but here you see him that he's ready to save his teammates. He's ready to dive in there, maybe even die for the cause. But I'm hoping that they don't have to do that. Because again, now shoes on the other foot. Onic, what do they have to do? I'd say wait for the Luminous Lord. They're crashing, and I'm seeing at least 2 inhibitors going down.
Yeah, you know, at least for Outplay, they're playing extremely disciplined right now. And they know that walking out of the base is just a little too risky, especially with the gold lead developed by Onic. 8.2K so far, the current gold deficit. And with the next 42K mark from the side of Onic, you can expect that their cores will have at least 4 of their core items. It's rough to begin with, and I think 2 more Lords until OP is able to equalize.
2 Lords, maybe one of them stolen. Like, I think they can survive one more Lord that's on Onic, and then maybe they can try to steal for the other. But something to note, I didn't notice, Onic's draft, there's very little magic damage, but the fact that Ureshi had to build an Oracle for himself means that he's respecting Sans. The fact that Ghost Bursters might deal enough damage to take down this unbending Will Arlott.
And it's strange to see because Onic aren't really clumping up in these team fights, right? Usually when you have a cold ulcer to play with, you want to just clump up, and that's why OP really went in on this box composition. Thing is, Onic have been very sporadic in the way they tackle these team fights, but like you mentioned, low magic damage, only Sans. Basic, just bottle win in nature. So that is definitely a power spike for him that he can utilize.
Well, don't forget, keep your eyes on Keyboy. He's got his flicker back up again, and we saw how much damage he can do with the Gnome Fury, and with the 3rd hit of it being flickered into the middle of the enemy team, getting big knockups as well. At least for Outplay, they can recognize we can try to cancel it out, but that's a lot of resources that's being dedicated to Keyboy.
Here we go, Lord, crashing on through. Mid goes down, bottom up next. There's a wave up top that Kyrie's brought in.
Okay, this is the siege right now. Oh, Basic is going to be engaged on right there. Doesn't do enough damage onto Kyrie. Still going to be able to be super safe in the back. Boots pops in Black Dragon form. Real World Inflation popped down as well. Rishi going to be zoned away from the team. Doesn't have the final slash anyway, so look for anything more. And Onic say, we're happy with 2 base turrets. We might look for 1 more as we go and invade first.
Well, to be fair, Hoon doesn't have the RWM. If they really want to force it, they can absolutely do so on the second wave, right?
Oh, final slash. It actually brings Sans back, but he has to call Alter, and now the collapse on the back. CW with the laser duet onto the base. Hoon gets taken very low, still saving that flicker right now. Kyrie is going to be caught. He has the dashes though. And CW now is going to be able to melt them down 1 by 1. It's a double kill for CW. A 3 for 0 as Onic will still pull back the discipline. They do not want to force it.
It's dangerous. They're very low. They're very low. It's hard. Kyrie might survive, yes, but maybe not Kiboy. Maybe not CW, but they're still going to push.
16 seconds on the clock for the death timers right now. The base is wide open, and CW will just go for it right now with a battle mirror image. 15 minutes in. No minions, but it does not matter. Dominance in game number 1 presented by Onic.
I told you, as soon as that RWM is down, at least they know for a fact they cannot force anything onto Onic's side. So they're the ones holding the tempo. They're the ones holding the initiative to go back into these fights. And I think even for Outplay, they're like, man, that's really rough. When we don't have the tempo, when we don't have the lead, it feels like Onic just control them.
It begs to be questioned.